Shut up!
Hey guys, welcome back to the Noise Podcast. We're back with our second episode. Let's all say hi.
Hello guys.
Hello everyone. Firstly, today we thought we can address the main issue. That's that our exams, the exams we've been preparing for from so many days, the JE and NEET exams have been finally postponed. What's your opinion on this, guys? Let's start with Abhay.
Yeah, so I saw the news too, like it came out just yesterday morning or something, right? And it was a bit sad, mainly that we've been studying for this for so long, and I just want to get it over with. Postponing only like reduces the amount of time I'll most probably spend on it.
Personally, I'm all for postponement. It's working out really well with my schedule, and it's helping me build up my confidence with problem solving, and it's making me more comfortable in general. So I mean, for me, it's kind of helping.
Yeah, even for me, like it's so nice because you get more time firstly to prepare, and not just that, our coaching classes have also given us a way better timetable and a way better way to go ahead right now that we have more than 60 days, right? But I think Abe is the only one who sees this in negative light. I don't know why also. Do understand where you're coming from, but yeah, I feel it's just better right now. Oh, Ved, what about you?
I actually agree with Anmol and Sriram. This is a blessing in disguise for me, at least, because this gives me time to rectify my previous errors and then look into stuff that I had missed earlier. So this is a godsend. And plus, I get time to prepare myself, calm down, and keep my head clear. And on the other side, I also get to indulge in other activities. I can learn a new language or pick up some sort of new hobby to keep my head fresh.
Okay, yeah. So one more thing, you realize because our exams are going to get postponed so much, college is going to start faster, and we're not going to have time to plan out the things we had planned for like after exams and stuff like that. What's your opinion on this?
Start later.
It's going to start earlier in the sense it's going to start the time it was supposed to start. Well, our vacation, our vacation's over. We don't have a vacation as such.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, what is your opinion on that? We had planned some things here there. No, we had planned some things here and there. Let's do something, but none of them is going to happen now.
Honestly, I feel like it's just going to get postponed by a year, right? So after like one semester in college or something, we can just do the same thing again. Honestly, I don't feel like postponing college just so that we get our vacation on time, because it's obviously not worth it and it isn't feasible for anybody.
No, my question not should they postpone college. It's like we aren't going to get time. They are not going to postpone college. So
exactly. That's what I was saying. So we never really had much of a vacation in the first place. Maybe all of us would find it week out or half a week out to go on a trip or something.
No, we would have had a pretty good time. College starts normally in August, September, and exams would have ended May.
You always have those friends in the group who are like preparing for other things also, right? So they're not going to be letting them out every day of the week or every week. So that sort of thing is avoided, and plus it's just postponed by a year or so.
Yeah, like once again, this entire scenario kind of sucks. Mainly in that, like, since everything is postponed, they may try to start up college early, just like what you said, end up reducing our vacation time. Like, I know for a fact that we had few plans, and even if not for like anything preposterous, we could at least like go out for lunch and stuff. But most probably now even that's cancelled, and that's kind of bad, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's
but
just
we'll somehow get to do something though. Not to worry. Maybe a day or two. Let's see.
Yeah,
hopefully everything's better by then. And Ram, what is your take on this? Because you're the ones who had the most plan.
Yeah, actually, see, for what we had planned on doing was going on a trek. It's been a it's been a bit of a routine for the last 3 years. So actually, in reality, to book a good trip and set up the itinerary perfectly, it takes quite some time. You need to start, if you want to go in June, July, you need to start off preps in February. So I think we were pretty boomed as soon as they announced postponement of the CBSE board exams, even before the whole coronavirus crisis started. So I guess it's not, I don't see much loss there personally.
Okay, yeah, good that you brought up the crisis. Right now, it's kind of turned from worst to the worst case. It's like everything's kind of relaxed now, though cases have increased like more than 3,500 cases just yesterday. So, like, do you see a green light or a light at the end of the tunnel at any point?
I think with relation to the crisis now, we're starting to hear some pretty credible reports on the successful development and testing of vaccines and actual effective therapies. So I think they might have taken the decision to relax certain lockdown terms because the government probably knows something that we don't, that they don't believe they're ready to announce yet. I mean, or at least that's my take. I'm probably wrong, but yeah, that might explain why they're sort of relaxing things a bit. And I mean, and
Okay.
it is going to help a lot. And it's like once you successfully develop a vaccine or a treatment, it's no longer a question of flattening the curve. It's a question of how many people you can get the treatment and preventive measures to, so you can just stop the crisis dead in its tracks. So I think might be something connected to that.
Wait,
Yeah, hold on. You said something about like relaxing some terms of the lockdown, right?
yeah.
So, what about the opening of liquor shops? I mean, that doesn't seem essential at all to me. And like opening some parts like the business sectors and the business districts and all to help bring the economy back on track. That kind of makes sense. But then opening the liquor shops didn't make sense at all to me. So, what's your take on that?
I think
Yeah.
with the liquor shop, I think they were trying to prevent a mass withdrawal set of withdrawal cases, because I mean, from what I've read, alcohol withdrawal can be really, really messed up. It's really painful and it's not a nice condition. So I think it might just be a short-term decision to, keep it's just keep people. Okay, it would be wrong to say keep people hooked, but yeah, you get my point, right? It's just to prevent any such disaster.
It's not just that, there's going to be a lot of resentment from people. Alcohol is one such thing that, yeah, we still don't know why, but it is something that people can fight over. History is like the biggest evidence of the fact that alcohol can cause wars. So,
Yeah.
so in such a case, I think it was somewhere down the line a good idea to open up liquor shops, but the way they did it, they could have been more efficient, like practicing social distancing at liquor shops and stuff. They could have been more efficient, and they could have like maybe commissioned constable there who at all times kept an eye on how social distancing is maintained. But I don't know the logistics of the game as well.
Yeah, so like addressing the issue of them opening stuff up, right? At least in my opinion, this was a kind of thing that they had to do. As in, I mean, yeah, by having a lot of restriction, by making people stay at home for lots and lots of time, they had curbed down the spread of the disease, right? But at some point or the other, they were going to have to open India again.
Yeah, exactly.
And when they did it, like the cases were bound to jump up, right? So I guess in my opinion, the government is like, yeah, better now than never. Let's get this over with, but with the feasible amount of restrictions so that the first wave can be flattened out quickly. Also, like regarding the liquor shops, so there's this article I found which says that the Maharashtra government yesterday made lots of money, around 1 crore from only taxations on the liquor sold yesterday, or upwards of that. So, like, they got a lot of money from it when the entire country is going to go under debt. So this is a critical time for the country to make such kind of heavy decisions. They have to choose whether they should curb alcoholism at this stage or just get enough money to survive the entire pandemic. And that's what they've chosen right now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is true, because before this, I was reading somewhere that there was still a market for alcohol, if you believe it or not, but how it was going in somewhat a black market way, which wasn't helping the economy in much sense. But when the government realized that, oh, this is a matter we need to discuss and put into consideration, I feel they made a right decision week down the line. And yeah, the economy is benefiting from this, right? So all in all, it has helped it in some way.
No, like I said, I don't see. Okay, fine. Now that you said that the black market was there and the government wasn't getting any money from that.
No, I was not saying any money, but yeah,
okay, but now taxing alcohol seems like a good idea, but it still shouldn't come at a cost of human lives, right? Like such a spike for such a petty reason does not seem feasible to me at all. And if I was I mean, obviously I'm not, and I'm not going to be also, but if I was in that position, I wouldn't open liquor stores.
But it is improving the economy at the end of the day.
See,
and it was the fastest way to do it.
Yeah, the thing is, at this stage, right, when the country is going to go under such debt, And they know for a fact at some point the COVID cases are going to rise. There will be deaths. As unfortunate as they are, it is an endpoint that we are going towards, irrespective of what actions we take. I mean, we cannot keep the country under lockdown forever. So this seemed like a way to get money and ease restrictions at the same time. Also, a huge part of it, like I think Sriram or Anmol mentioned, is public opinion, and that certainly has helped the government, right? I mean, you can't have public unrest at a time of crisis like this. Otherwise, you'll have what's happening in like Michigan and stuff, where people are protesting on the streets against like not being able to get haircuts. So yeah, this is something they had to do, in my opinion.
Let's actually talk about this. How are you guys getting haircuts? Are you letting it grow, or are you inventing up your own way to do something?
Letting it grow, man. Letting it grow.
Yeah.
Sriram, what about you?
I'm not really concerned about my hair because I normally get it cut really short. I don't let it grow long, so it's still kind of normal for me. It's the beard that's a bit of a problem now. If I went out, I'm pretty sure someone might file an FIR on me on suspicion of terror activities. Not even joking.
Okay, that doesn't seem very PG-13, but okay. I just say for me, I think all of us have just let our hair grow because this is the time to experiment, right? No one else can see you, and you'll get a good idea of what you look like with long hair. And if it extends anymore, just shave your head off and wait another month or so.
Okay, I didn't exactly shave my head off, but I trimmed the whole thing out at like a really low length. So it's like damn nice right now. It does not look the best, but yeah, it's not like people are going to judge you right now.
No, but the thing is, at least for me, right? I think you guys would know it. I've been trying to get my hair to grow out since like November, all the way until when our principal was like, you can't, otherwise I'll get the gardener to cut your hair for the graduation ceremony. So after that, yeah, once again, I had to cut my hair. But since I already wanted to cut my hair and my hair grow, this seemed like a perfect opportunity for me to do that.
You wanted to have a mullet for grad, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yes, I did. But the principal said I'll personally see to it that the gardener cut hair off. I mean, jokingly, of course. So yeah, and that was the end of it.
Okay, getting back to the alcohol point, I sent a picture right now. Just have a look at it. It's a bill of alcohol for 52,000 rupees. And it's not far from home. It is somewhere in Karnataka itself.
Wow.
I don't think I need opinions about this, but yeah, it's just weird. We'll put it up on the screen. This is just absurd. 52,000 rupees on alcohol. My point is, when there's so many people, you can notice it while people are buying alcohol. It is really shocking. There is this fact that people sometimes say that they don't have money to buy food, and some people go and buy alcohol. Yeah. How reasonable do you think this is?
Once again, it's an addiction, right? So I don't really know if like most of them have the choice to do it. I mean, it's something their body forces them to do. But yeah, I mean, it's a terrible thing.
Okay, so hold on. You guys have been looking at the price, right? So, I mean, if the guy bought like 2 or 3 really expensive bottles of wine or something, I'd be fine with that.
But yeah, he bought a lot.
That is way too much. I haven't even seen 128 bottles of alcohol in my lifetime.
This is really absurd. Okay, like so.
I've never even heard of these names in my life. This looks so alien to me.
I'm being a scholar on the art of names of alcohol brands.
Yeah, okay, nice.
Yeah, what we said, oh my god, that's a lot. This is not hopefully, it's one person if I'm not wrong. It looks like what? It's one person buying this. It's
one person buying. It's a single bill,
it's a single bill. So it's just like, it's shocking. It's damn weird. All in all, this is the reason our economy is doing a bit better than before. Let's actually come to a good point we can discuss. So, how do you think things are going to be after the crisis? Things aren't looking good right now. You can't see a better future, right, for how things are right now. What do you think? How do you think things are going to be in general?
Okay, I actually have something. So, before the whole lockdown was implemented, right, and the coronavirus was just in baby stages, people thought it would be a fairly small thing. But at that time, people were looking for vaccines, right? So, there was an article that I read where biotech, like new billionaires would rise who were like in the biotech industry, and they were looking for vaccines and treatments for this. And I think this is just going to intensify, and this industry is going to make so much money, they won't know what to do with it. They're going to swim in cash at the end of the day.
Yeah, but I have another opinion on this also. You say they're going to swim in cash, everything. Yes, yes. But the point is, right now, there's a lot of research going into this. Right now, we see this biotech and so industries are more investing money onto research than gaining back through this thing. Because none of them have found a definite cure as of now, if I'm not wrong. None of them have
Yeah,
found
that's true.
a definite way. So they're not earning back a lot at this point. But
yeah, so far at this point, yeah, but then
yeah, that one company which cracks it, right, is going to be rich forever. But
no,
yeah,
see, I'll tell you what, they'll find a solution and they'll basically not sell the rights, but they'll market the rights to other companies
other
so that their
companies, yeah,
revenue comes to this company. So it's a win-win for all of these companies, in my opinion.
yeah, that's true. But obviously, the company which cracks it is going to reach new heights. Avi, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with what Wade said. The fact that these companies which crack the code will make a lot of money, but doesn't that kind of make you feel bad in the sense that they are going to have so much money? They're literally marketing lives and they're selling lives. They're putting a value on lives, right? They're saying, hey, if you have this much money, you're worthy enough to live. And that's crazy, isn't it? At least it's my opinion that all these vaccines should be made free.
Wait, I don't understand you. That's what doctors do either ways right now. I'm not criticizing them, but it is true. At the end of the day, when you pay for a surgery, you're paying for your life.
Yes, exactly. And I'm not saying I'm a huge fan of the system as currently, but at least when a global pandemic such as this is floating around and so many lives are at threat, right? So I'd hope that the entire medicine sector finally come to their senses and realize that they have to stop putting value on life.
So, Avi, I just had a point that, yeah, obviously in such a pandemic, we are supposed to look at the ethical side of it. But we also need to look into the fact that these companies are putting in so much effort right now and so much money right now without any output.
The only reason they are doing that is because world leaders are not allowing for public sector working of these things, right? So like public sector research has been cut down to a huge extent as compared to private sector ones. And like if you see the United States, there's been grants going on for private sector research, much more than what he's giving to the public sector itself.
Public sector, yeah, true.
So once again, like the government is endorsing a capitalistic gain kind of policy on this. They're literally asking companies to say, hey, you know what? I spent so much money on this because of you, and now I'm going to ask you money for it. So they're shifting the blame towards the people themselves, and that's a terrible thing to do, especially during a pandemic. I mean, ethically speaking, at least, right?
Ram, do you have anything to say about this?
Yeah, I'm fairly sure that number one, the governments are going to start putting caps on the prices of the vaccines since it's like I mentioned in the previous episode, it's like a wartime condition, right? And on the off chance that they don't, if these companies do in fact sell these treatments at exorbitant prices, they're going to have an enormous PR problem on their hands. And I don't think anybody's going to want that. And on top of that, a third and that's just the social redundancy. The third redundancy is in case they get away with charging exorbitant prices, health insurance companies are going to step in and balance out the whole thing. So in the end, I'm fairly sure that even after all this price manipulation happens, the end user, which is the consumer, the patients themselves, they're going to get it at roughly the same price. So there are a lot of dynamics going on here.
Yeah, but one thing, Ram, you are right. But there's a funny thing, okay? How the medical industry works is the caps not placed by governments always. It's placed by the company which is basically giving the rights to other companies to sell the product. I'll give you an example. When insulin was made, the insulin which diabetic patients take right now, it was made by a company called Eli Lilly. Till today, they are the ones placing caps on any kind of insulin treatment.
But Anmol, just an example here, the insulin vials, right? So in the United States, if you have to purchase them, they cost about $365-ish, if my numbers are correct. However, in Canada, the same thing costs $5. So governments can play a huge role in this. I mean,
this was basically in the US because this example was a US-based example where the company was setting the price caps.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, if you have a government which wants the exploitation of people, I mean, that's not something anyone can help, right? Because the government is
Yeah.
supposed to be helping the people. And if they are siding with private corporations to take money from the main stakeholder, that is the people, then there's not a lot we can do. However, if the government makes a conscious effort to help the major stakeholder being the people, yeah, then I guess anything is possible, right?
I think there's a third dynamic to that. You mentioned the price difference between US and Canada, right? And that's obviously comparison of health. Canada has a crazy healthcare system. Now, when you
Yes.
look at India, it's
Mhm.
actually cheaper than both US and Canada, if I'm not wrong. And we don't really have a healthcare system in place. I think the third way to achieve like lower prices for these is to set up manufacturing in the country. That's the
Yeah.
reason India, as far as
That's a very
yeah,
good
India,
point.
as far as
Yeah,
I
that
know, it's the world leader in manufacturing medicines, insulin vials, vaccines, especially by a huge margin. And that's, I guess, bringing production closer to home is also an extremely viable solution.
But once again, most like it's not like all countries can help in production, but the ones who can should try to, right?
One more thing I have noticed is India did have a healthcare consciousness before this also, but suddenly the consciousness and awareness towards healthcare has exponentially grown after this crisis. Like before this, normally manifestos of political parties before the elections never used to have terms like healthcare, etc., hygiene, so and so. They used to, but they never paid it so much attention. Rather, our country was more towards women's safety, corruption, etc. But yeah, these things are important, which I spoke earlier, women's safety and corruption. But healthcare is now a very big thing, which people are going to be always questioning governments for. What is your opinion on this now? In India, let's take it in case of India.
Yeah. So you look at healthcare, right? Healthcare is given in many countries as a basic right.
Yeah.
So healthcare, like I understand that it's a critical thing, and I have always tried, like in many discussion with peers or anything, tried to propagate the idea that healthcare is an absolute necessity. However, I really don't see any practical way of implementing, I mean, a really beneficial healthcare system, like to a huge extent, kind of healthcare system in a country as densely populated as India. However, like even a basic level of healthcare can be implemented and should be. So that's something that like running parties from now may be trying to look at, right? So maybe people will try to ask these running parties, hey, okay, I get all these other policies that you're talking about, corruption, etc. But after a world pandemic which we face like this, I think healthcare is a really important point too, right?
Yeah. But yeah, India does have free healthcare to the extent that everyone's given free healthcare in government hospitals and yeah, such hospitals. But yeah, the hygiene, health, all these standards will now be discussed more in the media, the parliament, and other places also. Okay, wait. What is your take on all of this thing? What do you think are going to be big major changes in this world after the corona crisis?
No, yeah, like I said, we'll have a new set of millionaires and billionaires, right?
Yeah.
And you see how all these countries were so unprepared for something like this, like a pandemic on this scale. So now onwards, they're first of all going to be way more aware, and they're going to all have policies. And hopefully, I hope it's not too controversial. Hopefully, they put China in its place and they stop letting China mess with everyone. Like in the UN especially, China's had way too much power for way too long, and I think this should bring them down a peg. I think they should knock them down a peg.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ved. Even I feel that China has been ignorant towards a lot of these things. They're I wouldn't say selfish, but they're very focused on their own nation to bother about the world. So, yeah, Ram, what do you think about this?
I think yeah, China it's complicated because I mean they sort of operate like the USSR, right? I recently watched Chernobyl, and have you watched Chernobyl by the way?
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
I've
Yeah, and
Yeah, I
when
have.
you look at
okay.
how the sequence of events on how the USSR dealt with Chernobyl, that was first they tried to suppress it, and then when the Geiger counters went off in Sweden, that time they started coming out with the information slowly. That's kind of what happened even with the coronavirus. Like the doctors that were initially reporting these cases, they were taken into
Silenced.
custody and stuff like that.
Quietened.
And then after the pandemic reached a point of no return, then they started acknowledging it. So yeah, I mean, it's just how the communist system operates. That's what happens when you don't allow freedom of speech in your country. So it really stems out into a broader problem.
Yeah, Ram, all your points are taken. Now let's actually discuss about something more towards us, something which is at our backyard, our schools. How do you think this is going to change? Because right now I see video calls of our teachers teaching 11th graders right now who are in 12th right now, and it's just weird because I would have never pictured these teachers, the same teachers, teach in online, not in the sort of way that they're not technologically aware or something, but it's just that you can't digest the fact that teachers are teaching via the same instrument they ask you to not use on a daily basis.
I mean,
So
yeah, but
yeah.
like teachers have evolved a lot, right? I mean, we've seen at least through our juniors, they've quickly adapted to this new system, and that shows like how capable they are to think on their feet. But once again, yeah, I mean, it's puts a huge stress on the teaching industry, mainly in that many of these teachers are not as up to date with technology as they would preferably be. So there must be some sort of way to teach them, to teach the teachers like how to handle these kind of technologies and stuff.
No, I definitely think trainings for teachers will be more frequent on the use of like video call or some other video platform to teach students. I think the government will undertake more trainings, and it's actually good also because it's for the first time teachers are not just adapting to a new syllabus but adapting to a new teaching style all the different.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just about a new syllabus, a new way. Their teaching style itself has to change, right? Because
Yeah,
many
exactly.
of them are used to, say, writing on the boards or
Okay.
stuff like
Yeah.
that. And now it's a different system, and they cannot monitor these students the way they used to. I remember many teachers telling me the look on your face says exactly what you're doing.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
this is not something they'll be able to do now. So yeah, they have to adapt. And if I know one thing, the teaching industry is the most equipped to adapt, and they'll do that sooner or
Yeah,
later.
that's true. Wait, what do you have to say about this?
No, I completely agree with Avyay. Except for the face and like the teacher not being able to see the student's face while teaching, that can change, right? Because as far as I know, in Zoom you can force them to open their
Yeah,
webcam,
yeah.
or you can, I don't know, force them to speak up also. I mean, it's not as intuitive as a real classroom, but I can see it getting to that level.
Okay, obviously exams are something we've always written by with pen and paper. As in schools and stuff, it's always a pen and paper based exam. How do you think this is going to change? Because this is school based exams have not even like seen an online platform till date in India. So what do you think is going to change about this round?
See, I mean, I don't think it's practical to conduct exams online with the person taking the exam sitting at home. You're gonna see a
Yeah,
lot of cases of cheating and stuff like that. So, but on the bright side, yeah, I think they will be more open to shifting the whole examination and teaching processes onto online systems. Like they did it with JE Advanced quite a long time back. Like at least I think it was they started online exams 4 or 5 years ago, and it's been working out really well for them logistically. And this also brings me to another point where basically in you've all heard of Khan Academy, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in
Yeah.
Khan Academy, Sal Khan, the CEO, he's always had this outlook that intelligence isn't something that's inherent in a person.
Measured by
You can you
exams.
can you can increase your intelligence with practice and persistence. So online platforms and which the education sector is now moving into it, they can really help enable that because I'm sure all of you have used Khan Academy quite a bit, right? So
Yeah,
you always have that
Yeah,
flexibility
yeah.
where if you don't understand a topic, you can always go back and rewatch the video as many times as it takes to understand it, and it teaches you that it's not really exams that help you achieve mastery. It's your persistence to the subject that's going to help in the end. And this whole crisis, it's really helping push the entire sector into adopting education. Adopting technology into education.
Yeah, that's completely understandable, right? I mean, that's something they'll have to do in a scenario like this. And this will perhaps better equip them because, as just like what you said, Ram, there is a lot of, yeah, okay, so there's a lot of stuff available online, a lot of learning capabilities. So this is something that the teachers will now be equipped to use, and that will perhaps help education of the children, right? So moving on, we in the beginning of this discussion we talked about how we had plans to like have lunch with each other and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
social gatherings are going to be hugely impacted by this pandemic, right? So what do you have to say about this, Anmol?
Yeah, really, the whole thing you can never imagine, because India is a really is a place which is really run by movies and Bollywood and other kind of entertainment stuff. But right now there is no scope for these things. Like, at least schools and other things, you can understand how it can take off in the future. But these kind of industries, I really don't see any way other than how it used to be. So there has to be a big amount of change. I really think rise in online platform for entertainment is going to take up, and it's already rising. I think Netflix and Amazon Primes are at an all-time high for subscriptions, and even Ramayana on Doordarshan reached an online high on TV. That was really shocking.
Yeah.
Other than the entertainment thing, I really can't predict how the whole social aspect of this is going to be, because there has been no example till date to display it. Because when I say education, we have seen how Zoom calls work, and we can make an assumption that this can go on, but I've seen no other alternative for these activities. Maybe we can have lunch together on Zoom or something.
That was actually a joke before the lockdown
exactly.
started, remember?
So like, yeah, I get what Anmol is saying. I mean, it's not just limited to lunch, right? Like there's fantasy parks, like theme parks. Then there's so many other forms of entertainment which may be like which are literally critically endangered at this stage. So
Dude, wait. Thank God you said fantasy park. I finally hope they drain out all the pee in Wonderla once and for all.
Oh my god, yeah. Especially the wave pool. Oh my god, that's the salt content is unnatural there. It's not added.
Yeah, that kind of happens when you leave your mouth open in a wave pool. Who does that?
Try keeping your mouth closed when you get hit by a wave in the danger zone.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to face the waves.
I like going face first into that stuff. No way.
Yeah, so you're basically inviting a pee in your mouth scenario.
How was I supposed to know that as a kid? Okay, I mean, come on. Give me some leeway here.
Yeah, as a kid, I bet you Ram thought that it's salty because like the wave pool.
Oh, yeah, they wanted
like seawater salty. He didn't expect it coming from people's sweat.
Sweat, really? Really? Okay, cool.
I actually have something to say about social interactions. I feel we're going to just ease into it, right? Because that's what we're expected to do with everything else also. So anyway, you remember when apps like House Party started peaking in terms of usage, right? Like daily average users and stuff. And I feel this will also boost like VR headset sales. I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. And hopefully the price drops and I can get one myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, like VR chat and stuff is going to spike as well. And I mean, that's what people have to do at this point, right? You can't expect people to come and meet you, especially when literally the government is telling you not to do that. And already people are sneaking out and stuff. So that's already them easing into when times are going to go back to normal. So I don't think it's going to impact social gatherings that much. It's just going to slow down.
It might even revive the Ugandan.
That type of.
Okay, yeah. So one more thing, I recently saw something on my mom's phone. It was one of your obviously weird WhatsApp forward, but that actually got me thinking. There was this one where they were making masks matching to your clothes. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So do you really think this is going to be the case? Because obviously masks are going to be one of the most important things down the line from today. And I remember during our board exams, it was when this whole crisis started, and I used to travel by metro almost every day of the board exams. And gradually, day by day, I saw like pretty good amount of increase in the number of people who wore masks. It was really nice to see that gradual increase. But do you really think masks are going to be an essential part of our fashion from today?
I mean, at least for the near future, they should be, but can't really say, right? I mean, it depends on how this pandemic goes. So, like, I've seen, like, if you study like past epidemics and stuff,
Yeah,
they usually last for about a minimum of 1 to 2 years at least. So,
you're scaring
I
us right now.
no, I'm not. I mean, like, it doesn't really mean that 1 to 2 years of staying at home.
Yeah, okay, yeah, makes sense.
No, but this masks being part of someone's, what do you say, get up. I can't think of something better. It's been common in countries other than ours, like in the States, yeah, in Japan especially, Korea. It's like not a normal plain mask, but it's got like a face design on it or some
Those
sort of
cute
design
anime
on it.
ones.
So I can see that getting, yeah, the cute anime ones, they can get popular, but then I don't think it's gonna get mainstream. Not everyone's gonna be using it. It's just gonna get slightly more popular.
But
And these aren't even those effective masks. They're
But
just for
right
show,
now,
basically.
what every doctor is saying is any mask is good because the mask is not preventing you from breathing in the virus. It's actually preventing you from spreading the virus if you have it.
Yeah.
So yeah, down the line, any kind of mask is good. What do you think is going to change in environments? Because we're seeing weird stuff happening around, like dolphins returning to the coast of
Turtles,
the
you
western
mean?
coast of
Oh,
dolphins are
dolphins,
returning to the
okay.
western
Yeah, that was
coast.
different. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, there are olive ridley turtles which are returning to the
Mumbai beaches and stuff, right?
Mumbai
Yeah.
beaches and the beaches towards even Karnataka. Olive ridley was mainly towards Karnataka, which I knew, and it kind of people declared it extinct. People are seeing it back again. So environment is a big aspect. So do you think it's going to change now?
Hopefully, I mean, now, like you can observe a lot of changes in your day-to-day life. Like I'm sure you would have. I don't know. I don't know about you, but I have quite a lot of breathing problems and allergies. So that causes. So I'm really sensitive to pollution. For me, like I haven't had to keep my air filter on in my room, and I could keep my windows open and still have sufficient ventilation. So yeah, there's changes like that, and then you have news like the turtles beginning to nest on Mumbai beaches. Hopefully, that's going to make people more aware of how much our daily life that we take for granted is really ruining the ecosystem, and it may change a few. I mean, maybe not a few. Hopefully, a lot more people's habits, and they'll at least stop taking life for granted in general.
Wait, what about you? What's your opinion on this? The environment's becoming much better than before, though it's a virus which is killing us all.
Yeah, it's a bit ironic, but it shows that, yeah, I agree, Sriram. He said that humans have been taking the environment and life for granted, right? And this is going to show. I mean, this is a classic example of you'll get to know the importance of
Gone,
something
yeah,
once
true.
it's gone from your life, right? Yeah. So people are going to value this so much more. And of course, there are going to be the same old people who keep littering and then who keep, I don't know, who don't go and get their cars tested for pollution and stuff. That sort of people will also be there, but as students also, I think we're going to appreciate this newfound the environment or something.
And there's even the silence.
Too sure.
The silence is so peaceful. Like it's so nice not to hear cars honking all the time for a change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but it's going to be weird after it starts again, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's very weird even if you go out on streets right now. It's like you can't even go from one area to the other. It's extremely weird. You don't feel like you're in the same Bangalore you used to be in. So it's going to take a lot of time adjusting to these kind of things. So I feel we can adjust to it really fast.
A pretty funny observation I made. Like, if you're watching a movie that was obviously shot before the lockdown, you'll see people like dancing and getting together in public, and that's, first of all, it's making me feel really jealous of them. And on top of that, it feels so weird to see people gathering in such numbers, even though it's been happening, even though our lockdown's been happening only for like 2 months, 3 months at the most. It feels so weird and alien.
It's like but do you think this, like, people have been saying from a long time, if we don't take care of nature, it's obviously going to tip over at some point, and nature's going to give its comeback, and we're going to face the brunt. do you think this is the warning call from nature to be like, oh, let's stop guys, stop polluting, or else you're gonna die?
It's not that much of a warning. It's more of like, look what happens when you aren't
Around. Oh,
careless and you aren't
makes
taking
sense.
me for granted. That sort of thing.
Oh
It's
yeah,
not-
by
Yeah.
the way, like
Yeah.
on a related note, I was reading recently about I mean, it's not exactly related to what we're talking about. It's basically on the advent of solid state batteries and how that's going to help different industries to cope with the whole environmental situation at hand.
Honestly, I was thinking about this as well, but I was thinking about it as the environment was basically hot and was in danger, that sort of thing. And then now that it's clean, I don't know. I was thinking of the environment as a person, and because of this, it's going to let its guard down. And when we go back to being normal, industries like the petroleum industry and then factories, those are going to get back to functioning normally. They're going to spew smoke into the air, and that's going to hurt the environment again. So I really don't see how that part of it could change. Other than that, I don't really have an opinion because I was only
Yeah,
thinking
I
about
feel
this
rather
recently.
we enjoy the situation now because obviously it's going to become the same old thing again. Same old thing again. So it's better we enjoy the nature how it is now. The stars are going to be as visible as possible right now. I know a few people who are entirely, their whole evening is occupied in stargazing and other things. I feel that's going to be, that's going to last only till the lockdown ends. And after this, it's going to end for sure.
Okay, so Avyay, what's your opinion on the whole environmental situation that's going to persist after this pandemic?
Yeah, so the environment will definitely get better, right? As in, we've already seen how there's dolphins returning to the canals in Venice. Not just that, in Barcelona, I believe there were a bunch of wild boar which walked into the main part, the main central Barcelona. So we're seeing like nature taking back control from humans. And yeah, this will definitely help us in the battle against environment change.
Okay, guys. So concluding, I feel that this pandemic has pushed the human race kind of together and away at the same time. So hopefully, it has brought us together and it forces us to maintain social distancing. So it's weird. So hopefully, we as the race together find a way through this, a cure as fast as possible, and everything can return to normal. But most importantly, it's all left to us. So hopefully you guys do follow all the rules and hopefully we can make not just the world, our country, everything a way better place. So we'll meet you next week. Till then, like, share, subscribe, and keep listening to the Noise Podcast. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. See you. Thanks for joining us.